Welcome to my channel. My name's Emily, the Petite Beauty Blogger, and in today's video I'll be doing a guide to contouring. So in this video I'll be showing you lots of different ways to contour, how to do it, guide, just facts about it for those who may be a bit scared or maybe those who want to level up in their contouring. Now you can use multiple different things to contour. You've got like cream, you've got powder, you've got concealer, cream concealer, as well as a more thicker cream concealer, and of course brightening powders. Now contouring just means shade and light, so if you are scared about the whole contoured face, then don't be too scared, because contouring can literally just be maybe putting a tiny bit of concealer under your eyes to brighten it. It's all about changing those shapes and brightening and shading. So I'll be showing you loads of different ways to contour today. So firstly, one thing I learned this from Scott Barnes. He is a makeup artist. He is JLo's makeup artist, so you know he's fabulous. He glows to the gods. He is incredible, and I learnt this tip from him. Go watch his YouTube videos, they are incredible. I'll put a link down below. I absolutely love him and I watch all his videos. So what I do is I've got my Anastasia Beverly Hills cream contour here, and the thing is, when you're using contours, try and not go too dark, because then it's a bit harder to blend and it might not look great. They say go 2 shades darker for contour, for dark contour, so I go always with the lightest one here, and with that I use my masked contour brush. It's that flat edge brush. Now this is a good one if you want more of that natural contour. You can contour underneath your foundation, so you start off with contour. I always do this when I want to be a bit, well, it can go either way. I can either want it really deep and dark if I want to be extra for like a show or something, or it can be really muted. So it's all about how you apply it, how much you actually apply, and the pressure. So I'm going to start off, I'm going to be using this one, and this is the shade Havana. That one's always trusty, and I love these ones. They're very creamy and they just work really well. So contouring is completely different to everyone, so I know you see those 3 that they tell you, that is good if you're a beginner, but that doesn't always work for everyone. You've got to take into consideration your face shape. So when I did a bit of beauty in college, they said that you're trying to get the oval face shape effect, so because that is apparently the prettiest. I disagree with that completely. If you like how you do things, then continue doing them how you like them, but this is what I professionally learnt. But really it's all about what works for your face. Now I have probably the roundest face known to man. It is a perfect circle. When I was bald, I talk about this a lot, I'll put up a picture here. I think I had a perfectly round head. It was a complete sphere, so I do have a round face shape. It's all about finding your face shape. Really, before you do any makeup, get a face chart and stare at your face in the mirror, and then just work out what face shape you've got. Now I have a very pillowy jawline. I don't really have a jawline, so that's one thing I like to cut sharp, because I can't afford to have a facelift. I don't want a facelift, so I'm doing this with makeup, and that's what I love about contouring. You can really change your face. So I'm going to start off with my jaw, and as you can see already, it's kind of created that line, and you can really see the difference. Now when I do contour, I try to go with, it's completely different for everyone. I go more of a cool tone. I feel like if I go in with a contour that's too orange, I feel like it doesn't contour. I go with more of a shadow, if that makes sense. So literally I just create it, and then I do a tiny bit here just to create that jawline shape. Now don't worry, that does look rather intense and insane, but we will be blending that out. So I'm just going to show you this side, and then I'll just do this side quickly later. So I don't always do that bit, it depends. but I like to I already have kind of like a line there, so I kind of just deepen it. But if you wanted more of that slicked back kind of face lift look, then I suggest maybe doing it more up like that, but I like how I do it. That is how I fine-tuned it. I will just slightly there. I have got a small face, so I don't like to contour too much. And there's always that misconception, people say if you want to do your contour a bit higher, but higher than your line there, but you've got to be aware of the space that you have here and here. You want to kind of maybe even it out, so don't take what everyone else says to heart. If you have a way that you like doing things and it works for you, then stick with it. That's the best thing I can say. If you enjoy it, don't let anyone tell you anything different. But obviously these tips are just helpful guidance and maybe inform you on things that you didn't know before. So I always do a tiny bit here. Now I do have a 2 head, so I never put any up here, because I know a lot of contour pictures per se tell you to put it up here. Now those pictures are just generic contouring, so really just work it out for yourself. Obviously the brown is to hide and the lighter colours are to shine and brighten. So really, if you want to hide something like cover, then just go in with a contour like bronze shade. So, and as this is also very small, I don't put any down here, but what I do is I bring this up ever so slightly just to give me that kind of swoop, like so. Now you can just blend it out with this, because once your foundation goes on, you actually want this to be blended out before you put your foundation on, otherwise then you can't. It's a bit harder to blend out. Now I learned this from Scott Barnes as well. I don't have cheekbones, I've just got a pillow face, so I actually do a line like this, around like that, as you can see, and that is going to create a nice line. A nice, see, you can already tell the difference with that. And then I'll probably put a bit of blush and highlight just there, just to pick it up and make it look like I've actually got cheekbones. Okay, so as you can see, let me just give that a bit extra blending. This may seem scary to most, but don't forget we are going to cover it with foundation later. Now as you can see, it's starting to like snatch my face ever so slightly. This is what I like about this. It can be intense or it can just be little, depending on how much you want. If you're one that wants to largen your lips without the use of fillers, then you can easily do that with this. You just very lightly go underneath, almost like a lip liner, and blend it out, and it very naturally plumps your lips. And I love this tip, I've been using it ever since. Oh. So I'm going to quickly complete the other side, just like I did this side. Okay, so I have completely completed my whole contour. I know I look like something from a horror film. Maybe this could be a cool Halloween look, going as undone makeup. That is true Halloween, that is true scary. But as you can see, I've just rounded it out to kind of make that cheekbone pop. And I know that's scary, but we are going to cover it with a foundation, and this is going to help. Now what you can do from here is you can also apply your concealer before your foundation. Now I don't do this one a lot, it does work. There's a lot of tips and tricks you can do that all work, but it's really just about finding which one you prefer. So you can just put a tiny bit, just like so, just really where you want to highlight, and we can also tidy up that line on our nose, just to create that snatched nose shape, because I have a schnoz. And you can just apply it where it's needed. So because I do have a 2 head, I do like to apply a bit more on my forehead just to brighten it and make it appear a bit bigger. And then I'll put a tiny line in the middle, and as you can see, my nose is looking way smaller than what it did. Now I don't really like to apply any here because I like to have that kind of triangular shape, which is my favourite, and that's how I fine-tuned my makeup. It really takes time. Just practice, find what you like doing, and then you're set. So to blend out the concealer, I'm actually going to go in with a foundation brush. I feel like because beauty blenders went so massive, I feel like everyone thinks you have to use a beauty blender. You don't. I feel like sometimes beauty blenders can take away a lot of the product and the pigment, whereas I think brushes sometimes can just add a bit more of that full coverage. So I feel like just because people on Instagram or online are doing it doesn't mean you have to do it. See, I like that, and it's just naturally blending it out. And don't forget, if it's not working for you, then we are going to go back over with foundation soon, so don't worry too much about it. But as you can see, that is snatching. Some people even use their fingers. Now I put on a bit too much concealer really for me to actually enjoy using my fingers, but if you're only putting on a few dots, then use your fingers. I feel like they work. Fingers are quite pillowy, aren't they? So I think they're really good for blending, and I love it. As you can see, I left that concealer on for a tiny bit just for that extra coverage, because when it dries a bit better you do get more of a coverage. Kind of thickens up a bit. Now this may seem like a lot of product to some, so you don't have to do it like this. This is just the way I like doing it. I do this when I do like my dance shows. I usually apply a bit more than this when I do my dance shows because of the lights. Lights can wash out any colour you have, so you want to deepen it even more. And in a second, if you're a bit weirded out and scared about this kind of contouring, I will just do some simple easy contouring later. But I wanted to start with this one because of course it goes underneath the foundation, so of course I had to start with this one. Now don't worry if you lose some of that definition in your nose, you can go back in later when you've done the rest. But my nose was looking a lot smaller than it once did. Okay, so there's the first step. Now what I'm going to do is go in with foundation, and I'm literally just going to go over everything I've done, maybe apart from the bits I've concealed, but definitely over the contour, and this is going to help just mute it down a bit. And for that I am going to go in with a stippling brush. This is my favourite way to apply foundation. You've seen this on this channel many a time. I love doing my foundation this way, and this one's from Revolution Pro. I do have one from Morphe. I own quite a few stippling brushes because I think they're just really good, and they really help that flawless foundation look, but very quickly. I feel like you can get a flawless foundation look with like beauty blenders, but I feel like that takes time, and if you haven't got the time then and you want a quick makeup look, then I love a stippling brush. Now what I'm going to do, so I always start here, and with a stippling brush I do small circular motions, but I hold the end so I kind of have that loose grip, and it just naturally helps blend out the foundation. Now I try not to put too much on, because although we want to cover that, we don't want to completely cover it, otherwise what's the point in the contouring. And this one is more of a full coverage, so you really have got to be careful, because we don't want to make it seem like we did all that contouring for nothing. Now the foundation I'm using today is the Fenty Beauty 145. It's that olive undertone, which I am, and I love it. Blend it in with that concealer, and as you can see, it's giving us that natural kind of line. Now I would make sure blend up your ear just so you don't get that harsh line there. And of course, always blend down your neck. And see, it just looks very natural and I love it. So if you want to check out Scott Barnes's, please, if you want to check out Scott Barnes's YouTube channel, then please do. It's a really good trick I learned. It's always good to learn from others. And there we go. There's the foundation all blended in with my contour and concealer. Now you could leave it this if you like it like this, because you have got that natural kind of contour, but that's not me. I like to go extra and full. Now I will just slightly put a bit more concealer on, just because I like that extra brightness, but you don't need to put too much on. Obviously this may seem like a lot of products to some. If you're a bit worried about how much products, if this is too much for you, and then I suggest start at the foundation and then carry on what I'm doing with now. Because we have gone over it with foundation, obviously sometimes you do want to just re-brighten to add that definition back in for more of an intense definition. And of course I will be going back in with that foundation brush. Okay, now I've blended out my concealer. I am just going to quickly set it before I move on, because obviously I don't want it creasing and I want it set and dry so I can move on. I'm just going to be applying my primer with the Morphe R5. It's just a really nice one that can just easily get in to the little crevices. So basically I apply powder everywhere that I've put concealer, just to set it, because of course that is the most wet product. I like to always brush down with that excess powder, so it powders the rest of my face without me having to add on extra powder. It sets as well. So I powder anywhere you maybe get creases, so maybe smile lines, around by your eyes, around in here, anywhere where you think you need it. Using my Spectrum B06 contouring brush, I'm going to go in with the Benefit Hoola. That is a powder contour, and that is great because it's buildable, so you can either have it really intense or maybe just a little more natural. And this is going over what I've already done just to deepen it, because that's how I like it personally. But if you don't like too much kind of contour, then you can literally just use this on its own above foundation and you're set. It's my favorite. It's a pretty good contour shade, although it isn't that universal because it only really works for my skin, but like my skin tone, but you can get loads of different other shades. This is just one of my favorites. Okay, so I'm now going to move on to contouring my nose, and I'll move in for that just so I can give you the best view on how to contour your nose. Okay, so here's my nose, and I'm going to be honest here, I hate this bit here. It's a bit too bulbous for my likings, so I am going to contour that. Now when I contour my nose, I like to use a nice flat kind of brush that is quite thin as well, because when you're contouring, especially your nose, you want a thin line rather than a thick line, because that is going to give you more of a chiseled look. I will show you what I mean. I've got a bit of product on my brush. I start at the top and I do little stamping motions, and a bit like this to help blend it also, and I bring it down over this kind of hump because I want to try and phase that out. Now this is something I really suggest spending time practicing, because my pet peeve is people that don't blend out their nose contour. I absolutely hate it. Blend it. That's the best advice I could give you. You cannot blend enough. And basically you repeat the same shape on the other side, and as you can see I've just done one line rather than bringing it down. Now I like to blend it up into my kind of brow area just so it looks more realistic, because we want to go for a realistic nose contour rather than a fake one, obviously. Now nose contours can be different for everyone. Obviously we learnt earlier that the dark contour we're using is using to hide stuff. So if you have a bump on one side, just try and go over that. Your contour doesn't necessarily have to be even. You have to try and work out what you're trying to do with your own nose shape. Now you could close it off here. That's what I like to do, just to give myself a bit more of a button nose, because I don't have a button nose. But if you want to elongate your nose, then I wouldn't suggest doing this bit, but I like doing that because I just like it. Now really spend time just trying to make your nose look symmetrical, and even this bit I hate. I'm not very good at symmetry, so bear with. There we go. Now that looks intense, but do not worry, we are not going to leave it like this. I do like to blend it out ever so slightly, but you can go back in with your stippling brush. I like to just kind of stamp it slightly just to blend out the colour. As you can see, that's what it's doing, because we don't want that harsh line. We kind of want it to be muted. Now, could leave it like this. As you can see, that's worked pretty nicely, but I am going to go back in with powder. This is going to sound really, really strange, but I'm going to coat on my baking powder, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from here and create a line, and as you can see, that has kind of created a shape, a new nose shape, and it's kind of snatched it in, because obviously this powder is brightening, so it's kind of making this seem like it's a completely different part of your skin. If that really, it's hard to explain. And of course you can see slightly under here, just for that extra. As you can see, I'll put in a before like here to show you the difference on my nose and how it looks. And then of course I am actually going to let that bake slightly, just because I like the effect it has when I bake it, but it's up to you. Okay, so I've let it bake, and I'm now going to just wipe away that excess powder, and as you can see, it's kind of created kind of like that natural line, which is what we wanted, because at the end of the day all we want is for this to look natural. And then to take it to an even more glam level, you can go in with highlighter. Now on my nose I like to use my fingers, because you just get a more precise small line, and I suggest if you want more of a button kind of pinched at the front nose, then I suggest doing a dot here, and you can leave it, but I like to have that elongated nose, so I do a line, and it just highlights the bit I want to highlight, and it just makes my nose look ever so smaller, and it just focuses on the bits I want it to. Okay, so I've moved out, and I am going to move on to highlighter ever so quickly before I move on to the rest of my face. Now highlighter is widely, like, people just think of it as just like a fun little colour, like glam, but it is good for contour, because if you want to pick up a certain bit here just to brighten it, highlighter is your best friend. And I'll just put a tiny bit here, and as I said before, I am just going to put a bit here because I want to highlight my cheeks, and this just really helps pick everything up, and it's such a contrast. It's such a contrast from the contour, like this bit, that it just gives dimension. Now I just put a bit on my chin and forehead, but that's just to make my skin look a bit dewier. That's not necessarily for contour reasons. And I do like to put, using my finger, just a tiny bit on my cupid's bow, just to help pick up my lips. Okay, I've done, I think, as much as I want to do here. I'm just going to quickly go off camera, finish the rest of my face, and then we'll move on to the last step, which is the lips, because you can contour your lips. Okay, so I have just done my brows, and I said I was going to do it off camera, but I've gotten to my eye point, like my eyes, and I forgot to say that contouring can definitely work on eyes. Now, you need to use the same technique as before with the dark and the light. Now, what I will say, I have hooded eyes, so you can't really see my eyelid anyway, so where I have got that natural line, you would do, I draw kind of like the crease line slightly above it just to create a new line, but really just using a deep shadow to deepen it, like here, will create depth. And then of course, if you want to brighten the inside, then use a bright light colour. So it just works like that. So for my eyes, I'll be going in with the Makeup Revolution Rachel palette. I'm currently binge watching every series of Friends. I've been watching it for 3 days now, and I'm already halfway through season 3. So I've been binge watching it to hell. So I thought, why not use this, because it's got a really nice, gorgeous deep colour for the contour. It's got some nice transitionals, and it's got some nice brights, which I'm very excited to use. So I said I was going to do it off camera, but I might quickly just do a time lapse of myself doing it on camera.
Using the shade Barney's, this is going to be my transitional shade, and I'm going to be applying it with a lovely fluffy blending brush, and this is the Morphe M411, and with the Barney shade I'm literally going to create a giant wing shape and blend it out up in towards my temple. Now for a deeper shade, I'm going to be going in with the shade Crush, using the Spectrum B04 angled blending brush, and I'm literally going to follow the same line I did before, but it's going to just deepen that crease, and that's another way you can contour. And of course, I'm going to be creating that giant wing look, so I'm going to be bringing it down into my lower lash line and just filling out the outer edge. Now, just to really wing it out, I'm going to take that blending brush again, the Morphe one, and just really blend out the edges. Now for the final shade to brighten, I'm going in with that gorgeous gold shimmer called On a Break, and I'm going to be using this flat Eco Tools brush just to apply it, and luckily for this it doesn't need concealer or primer beforehand. It just goes on gorgeously, and it's just going to add that pop of brightness.
Okay, so I have completed my eyes, I did my shadow, I did my liner, I did my lashes and mascara. Now what I did is I kind of created a long winged out shape using the deep shade that was Crush, and I used the transitional Barney's, and then I used On a Break, which is that kind of gold shimmer, just to brighten up the inner corners, and I really like it. Because I have got very small kind of beady eyes, I do like to bring my shadow up and out just to create that elongated shape, just to really kind of, I don't know how to say it, but to really pinch my eyes out like that so they're not too in the middle. So now I've completed that, I'm going on to my lips, and this is something you can actually contour and make look bigger. So I'm going to find me a lip liner. Okay, so moving on to my lips, I'm going in with two different products. I'm going in with the LA Girl lip liner in the shade, I'm guessing 358. Doesn't have a name, which is kind of sad. It just says Natural Cream. And then for lipstick, I'm going in with the Makeup Revolution useful. Now, great tip for these is also obviously lip liner. The most common tip is to overline to make them look bigger, but I'm going to show you in a second how to actually naturally make them big if you're too scared to over lip line. So naturally you want a darker colour for your lip liner and a lighter colour on the inner, so make sure you get that first. So I always make sure I have a sharp lip liner just so we can create those shapes, and I'm just going to draw my normal lip liner and then do the extras later for you. Okay, so I've lined my lips. Now what I'm going to show you is the magic. Now what you want to do is take your lip liner, just colour in the corners. Now as you can see, I'm going in just a tiny bit, I'm not going all the way in, because I want to keep that middle bit completely clear. Now I like to just blend them. Now by using this darker colour, it's just going to deepen the edges, so it works the same as contouring. Now sometimes I use my finger just to blend out the edges. Now what I'm going to do is apply that really light, nice light shade in the centre to now when I do this, I like to just stamp for a second, just so it's easier for me to blend out. I do go over that line ever so slightly, just to help blend and merge the two colours together. I'm just going to quickly set it and then I'll get to the end. And there you have it. There is the completed look. I will do a side by side and put up the picture here, and you will be able to tell the difference between the two. I hope this video was insightful for you. I hope you learned something new. Maybe you already knew some stuff. Maybe you've got some stuff to teach me. I'd love to know. Always good to learn from others and just share and have fun. So I really hope you liked the video, as of course I really do hope you actually learned something. This is just some simple ways to contour. I used cream, which is great for either natural or maybe you want to go intense. I used a powder, which can also do the same. It all depends on how you use it, how much you put on, and yeah. And tell me down below if you have a preferred contour, what you like to do, what your steps are. So maybe we're different, maybe we're the same. And as always, I really hope you enjoyed the video. You can follow me on my Instagram at Petite Beauty Blogger. You can also like my pro Facebook page, facebook.com/MUA by Emily, because I am a pro makeup artist first. And I have my pro website. I'll link that down below also. And as always, I hope you're staying safe and well in this lockdown, and hope to see you in my next video.